We're at the truck stop here in La Pine, Oregon. We're getting that gray Cascadia right there. It's full tractor trailer loaded. They said at first we're going to take the whole truck and trailer up to the Freightliner dealership, and I was all excited because that meant I'd get to show you how the Iver tool works. And yes, this is a sponsored video, and for those of you that think that's just the most horrible thing in the world, now's your chance to bail. More on that later. Oh, I guess I didn't put that away last time. Whoops. A lot of people have asked what all this is. That's the Iver tool. I don't think I've ever used it on video. I've definitely used it, as you can see. Not on video though. And that would have been the perfect opportunity, but turns out they're gonna have another truck come get the trailer, so I'm just taking the tractor, which means I'm just gonna hook it from the rear so I have to pull the shaft and all that stuff. So maybe next time. His truck still runs, it's just in D rate from all the emissions, something going on with it. So it runs and drives and all that stuff, it just won't. It's in like limp mode basically. So I guess we'll just rear hook U-bolt fork this thing like we've done a whole bunch of times recently. Actually, like my last, should have put that away, my last 4 or 5 tows have all been rear hooked like this, so U-bolt forks. That's okay though, quick and easy. I'll need this. I'll show you why in a minute. I'm like just crooked. Come on. You know, I could totally just like take my foot and kick the bar and it'll do what I need to do, but there it is. Okay, before we pick it up, we're going to tie the axle. Now I have my fancy new headache rack to hold all the chains, but I haven't had time to put them in there yet, so they're still in here. And what I will do is when I get done with this, instead of putting them back in here, I'll put these ones up there. And if I keep doing it like that, it doesn't matter if I get time to do it or not, because eventually it'll be done. We take the chain, we drop it between the S-cam, the axle, and then we take this, we reach under, and we pull it back up, and we have to crawl on the ground. Hook it, put it over there. So now we're going to go over here to the other side, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Drop it between, use our 5th wheel puller to go underneath, and give it a hook. No, we don't want to hit that, we gotta be careful. There go. Yeah, that's the ticket. Okay, we don't have to crank that binder tight because when we pick this up, that axle starts to sag, it'll pull it tight. It doesn't matter how far down this hangs as long as it's not at the end of the shocks. So now we can put this back here next to our Iver tool that we didn't get to use one day. Tilt up. So, you see? Now our chain pulled tight and it's not hitting that airline. Whoops. Now we'll tie those fairings straight. So we're taking pictures of his trailer, I guess. And I finally get to use my new clamps. All right.
You accept credit card?
Yes, credit card's fine. Yep. These are a little wobbly, so make sure that's tied down too. Get our steering wheel. Ooh, fancy. This guy takes care of his truck. Okay, we're ready to go. Yep. Alright, we got him dropped off. He's not hooked to that trailer, he's just backed up here out of the way to stay for the night until they open in the morning. Very nice dude. Owner-operator for 18 years, inside of his truck, cleaner than mine, and smart guy doing it right. He's got a dedicated haul from Washington down into California hauling potatoes, and he does one trip a week. It takes him 3 days from the time he leaves his house to the time he gets back, and he has 4 days off every week, and that's just what he does. And he said there's a lot of guys try to make like 2 trips and then take 1 day off. I was like, oh man, you can double your money. And he's like, nope, I just charge more and work less. 1 trip a week. Like, you are doing it right. So we got him dropped off. They're gonna get his truck checked out in the morning, and then I am heading on to the next thing, and that is skip to the next day, because all I did after that was go home, get some dinner, get some sleep. No more jobs the rest of the day. But today I tried to change the belt on that truck that I've been saying I needed to change for a while, and the belt I got is the wrong size. So now we got to head back up to the Freightliner dealership, get another belt, and try again. All right, we're headed to go get our new belt, and we are taking the truck because I got a call for a tow. They're gonna go do after. It's a short little tow, so go pick up the belt, go do that, then hopefully go home and change the belt. So we'll see how that goes. Right back here to the Freightliner dealer where we were just last night. I don't think we've been gone for 12, 14 hours or so, but we're back. Let's go get our belt. We're still in the parking lot with the hood up, as you can see, because we were all very confused for a minute. The belt they gave me is the correct belt number for this VIN number of truck, and none of us could figure out why it did not fit. We measured out against the old belt. I came out and took it off of my truck and took it in there, and they're like damn near the same, but just it did not fit. Problem was the tensioner in here, which I'll flip this around and I'll show you. This is the tensioner. This spring pushes down on that side, which spins this side up on a pivot right here, and that tensions the belt. And the problem was there's a stop right here that was bottoming out right as my belt was getting tight. And when I put this one on it, it's just ever so slightly longer, because that's how they're spec'd now. It wasn't getting tight because it was bottoming out first. And that super confused all of us, because when we were looking on the computer at the parts diagram, we're not seeing a stop for the tensioner. We couldn't figure out what was going on. So all of us are looking at this, none of us can figure it out. So I put the ratchet in there, cranked down on it, took the pressure off, and pulled on that stopping pin, and it came right out. And sure enough, it has a part number on it. So then we Google that part number, and this is an installation tool. This is a Detroit DD13. This is a Detroit engine fan belt installation tool. What you do is you slide that into that hole there, then you take your belt off, and it stops the tensioner from flipping way up over there and maxing out while you put the new belt on. And when you put the new belt on, put your ratchet in there, take the pressure off of it, slide the pin back out, and this tightens up the belt. So whoever changed the fan belt on this truck last, and I am saying fan belt because this truck has a serpentine belt as well. It's a totally separate thing. This is the fan belt. There's a mechanic somewhere who is missing their installation tool, and the installation tool has been sitting in the front of that tensioner housing for God knows how long, because that belt definitely has some wear on it. But pulled the pin out, turns out they sold me the right belt in the first place. They knew what they were doing. Also, our friend that we dropped off here yesterday, his truck's already fixed, gone. He's on his way home. Like, they were on it. So that load of potatoes he had in the trailer, it's going to be just fine. It's not going to spoil. He'll get it there in time. And it's way faster service than I'm like used to. So I'm glad I bought a truck that uses this dealership now instead of the other one. Anyway, I'm going to close all this up and not hear a belt squeal anymore. So, no squeal. It actually never squealed on startup anyway. It's like when you're at high RPM and the fan kicks on, it would like, well, it like spun the fan up to speed, but in all reality, it probably wasn't a big deal, but I just didn't want it to do that anymore, so now it doesn't. Okay, well, apparently I took too long going to get the belt for this thing and messing with that, so that tow we had to do, we don't have to do anymore. So I came back home, and I guess instead, perfect time to tell you about the sponsor of this video. Before you get all uppity about it being a sponsored video, just know that the product I'm going to pitch to you in this video doesn't actually cost anything. It is free. In fact, if you're in the trucking business as an owner, it can actually help more money in your pocket instead of spending money. I've actually been sitting on this sponsorship for quite a while, waiting for the right job to come along to tie it in with, and the one we just did, that tow of that gentleman there, is a perfect example, because that's a guy who knows his numbers. He knows his numbers, knows the business, knows his costs, and is able to negotiate a rate to where he only has to work 3 days a week, has 4 days off every week, and he lives a very comfortable life because of it. So, sponsor of this video is truckercalculator.com. And what truckercalculator.com does is help owner-operators and small fleet owners track all their expenses right down to the penny across every expense. Trust me, there's a bunch with this stuff. So that you know exactly what it's costing you to run per mile and exactly what you need to be charging per mile or hourly rate, however you do your business, to maintain profitable. See, a lot of owner-operators and small fleets out there, they don't actually know their true costs. All they know is the bills they got coming up, and a lot of them end up working to pay the bills that they've created by working. And I know that kind of sounds backwards, and it is, which is why truckercalculator.com exists. See, truckercalculator.com was created by some guys in the trucking industry who worked with other owner-operators there, and they kept seeing the guys they were working with going out of business pretty regularly, and realized, you know, if we don't really nail down our numbers, we might be next. So they created a program to track all their expenses across the board, and that helped them figure out what they need to be charging. And then they realized that they could use that to help others, and created truckercalculator.com. So how it works is you go on, you make an account for free, and then you enter all your information. You've got your fixed costs, your variable costs, your one-time costs. Fixed costs are obviously truck payments, insurance, registration, stuff like that. Variable costs are going to be fuel, is obviously the biggest one. Your repairs and maintenance is going to adjust every month and be quite a bit variable depending on how many light bars you lose. Then there's a one-time cost, which is going to be like that headboard there, gear and tools that aren't consumables, like what the light bars are supposed to be. Then you got payroll taxes, you've got business taxes. All of that stuff gets entered in there. You got depreciation on your assets. And what it brings up is a spreadsheet. You could look at it a few different ways. It tells you what months you're profiting, what months you're not, by how much, how many miles you ran as deadhead compared to loaded miles, and how much you need to be charging for those loaded miles in order to make up for the deadhead miles and still end up at the profit margin you desire. So I went on there a couple months ago and entered all my information in, and then I went back through my accounting software and backfilled all the information for this whole year 2023. And now, disclaimer, I know that Cascade Heavy Rescue loses money every month. It has ever since the YouTube thing got popular, because when I started putting more time and effort into YouTube, it started taking away from the business. And then also with so much of what the business does, not these trucks, the wherever the track Jeep is, but like that truck and this Jeep and everything else, doing so much work for free. Oh, there we go. I know Cascade Heavy Rescue loses money every month. This truck, even though it's new, and that truck there, they spend a lot of time parked in the yard while I run the others for free. And these have big, huge monthly expenses tied to them. But I was surprised at how much they're losing every month. By using that whole software, I was able to realize that Cascade Heavy Rescue loses just a little over $7,200 a month. I'll put the actual number here on the screen. I can't remember off the top of my head. But that is the average per month for the calendar year 2023 up until beginning of this month or end of last month. Now, obviously, that business loss that Cascade Heavy Rescue has is made up by YouTube, which is why I do these videos. And the money I make up off of that is what offsets the money I lose with these. And in the end, it all still ends up somewhat profitable. Now, of course, this truck and the Zacklift unit on the back of it here are very new, and the two of those are changing those numbers drastically on both the expense and the income side. And that's throwing those averages off and changing them quite a bit. Obviously, the truck and the low bed trailer that I bought totally outright were massive expenses all at once. I think I bought those in the same calendar month. So that month looks really bad on the charts. And then the Zacklift monthly. But then all the gear that goes in it is, well, some of this I had, but gear I had to buy for it. I had to buy a lot of gear for this thing. That's all a one-time expense. Some of it's consumable items that kind of go in the repair and maintenance category. But a lot of the expenses for this have already happened, which make that monthly loss number look even worse. And a lot of its income, because it's been working like crazy since I got it, but a lot of that income hasn't been entered into the system yet because we're not through that month. So that's going to change. Hopefully this is helping bring that averages back up. I mean, in all reality, if this setup working as much as it does brings Cascade's Heavy Rescue up to a net zero even, and then the YouTube is all profit money, then I'd be doing pretty good. But I was surprised to learn how much money Cascade Heavy Rescue is losing every month, which is also why I'm doing a sponsored video. Now, granted, if I ran this like a normal tow company, that wouldn't be the case. The trucks are profitable when they run, and I'm able to see that by looking at all the data on that truckercalculator.com. When they're running, the rates I charge, the expenses they have, they are profitable. Problem is they sit in the yard so much and they do such little work while the fixed monthly costs are still there that it puts it into the negative. So yeah, it's that weird thing. Like I said, YouTube is causing the loss but also creating the income that's offsetting the loss. So yeah, this unit, however, is having a drastic effect on the positive side of that with as much as it's been working, which means it does need to keep working and be the focus of the business. And running the numbers has helped me realize how much more I need to focus on this. Yes, we're still going to do off-road recovery, still going to do snow recovery, still going to do track Jeep stuff. That's not changing, but I am going to push hard with this one to help bring all those numbers up, because this is a very cost-effective unit for its capabilities, and that's the whole point of it: make money. So if you're in the trucking industry as an owner-operator or owner of a small fleet, go on truckercalculator.com. It's free. Get an account going. Plug in all your numbers. You can see where you're really at. Make sure what you need to be charging to stay profitable and stay in business. And yes, there is an affiliate link down below that I'd appreciate you using, because that would help me pay for all this. Anyway, thanks for watching, and thanks to our customer earlier for being a good example of an owner-operator doing it right. And if you want to get on his level of only working 3 days a week and living a comfortable life, go check out truckercalculator.com. We'll see you guys next time.